Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back, once again, to Wheel Takes, a podcast about the Wheel of Time, a series of books by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. I'm Gus. I've read all of them.
And I'm Allie. And what is reading, really?
How many have you read, though?
I have read... I'm on book 7?
No.
8.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot I was on 8.
You just started 8.
Chapter Prologue.
That's the one. This...
So today's podcast... Sorry,
yes.
I just
Go
took
ahead.
that from
It's
me.
fine. Go for it.
No, now I'm stressed.
Please.
Today's podcast will have spoilers up until the prologue of book 8. Ooh, nailed it. Stuck that landing. Killed it.
What's book 8 called?
A Path of Daggers.
The Path of Daggers.
The Path of Daggers.
That's right.
Like
what
I said.
is the Path of Daggers?
Well, it seems like Rand just saw a crown recently, right? That has some daggers on it. So it feels like it might be related. Do we know what place this crown belongs to? No?
The crown?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Crown of Ilion.
Okay, so I'm feeling like it's Ilion related.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the epigraph? I think it's called an epigraph. I actually remember now that it's called an epigraph. I've just gotten accustomed to saying I think it's called an epigraph.
What happens.
In this book, the epigraph, which I'll read in a minute, tells us what the Path of Daggers is.
Okay.
As opposed to Knife of Dreams, which the closing epigraph tells us what the Knife of Dreams is. So you go the entire fucking book.
So both of them are called epigraphs, not just the last one?
I'm pretty sure they're both called epigraphs.
Okay. I have a
this every book.
I have a linguistic issue with
But
that.
I'm okay with the fact
I
that
think
we
it should
do
be called a prepigraph if it's at the beginning of the book.
An inscription, a short quotation, or saying at the beginning of a book or chapter intended to suggest its theme.
What's the end then?
Epigraph at the end.
Epilogue?
What is an epigraph?
Okay, this is saying at the end.
It says it's an epilogue.
Dunno.
Is this somebody in 2019 on the English Language and Usage Stack Exchange forum said, I don't think this word exists. There's nothing that says an epigraph necessarily appears at the beginning. It is still epigraphical even if it appears at the end. Its position in the beginning is no more than incidental and conventional.
Good to know.
So I guess it's also an epigraph. But it could also be an epilogue. Let's say it's the epilogue, but there's also epilogues. This is so esoteric. But that's what you all come here for, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like you come for the jokes and stay for the epigraphs. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Allie.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of fun news to share, don't we?
We do.
Yes. We were talking to some other podcasting folks and discussing stats, because we're all nerds here. And we discovered there's a whole fucking lot more of you than we thought. And kind of as part of that, we were approached by an organization called Spreaker, which the Wheel Weaves and Watt Spoilers work with to put periodic advertisements in the podcast. And after a lot of thought and frankly kind of shock that this is a possibility for us.
Yeah.
We're gonna work with them.
Yeah. So, you may notice that advertisements might start appearing in our podcast episodes. They'll be pre-recorded, not our voices. And we get to decide, which organizations
what
or what kinds
we're...
of advertisements we would want on our podcast and which ones we won't. So you won't be hearing anything that we wouldn't explicitly say is okay on our podcast.
And if one of those does sneak its way in, we'll find out and we'll change it.
Yeah, please let us know.
We don't want to be supporting anything that we wouldn't be supporting.
Yeah. And they also are letting us kind of dictate where they go, or trying to find sort of the optimal places to put them. So it shouldn't be like cutting us off in the middle of words or anything like that. So it shouldn't interrupt too much, and we hope that y'all are okay with the changes. We're pretty excited because we're hoping that in monetizing the podcast a bit, that it will go to things like supporting us getting new equipment if we need it, getting plane tickets to JordanCon, things like that.
It's really kind of, we grappled with this because frankly, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
We did not anticipate this when we started recording this podcast. We figured that we would just be kind of doing this for 50 to 100 people in our closet. So thanks to all of you for your support. I'm also going to be I'm going to start putting ad-free episodes on the Patreon for all patron levels. So if you don't want to listen to any ads and you want to instead spend $1 a month to not listen to ads, you can do that too.
Totally fair. But yeah, we just want to say thank you all so much for your support and for being a part of this community. We really appreciate it. And we're just kind of giddy, to be honest.
Yeah, it feels really, really weird, but in a good way.
Yeah, good weird.
So thanks, everybody. We're really excited about this. And certain episodes will be ad-free. Some of them. Yeah,
a couple of our more sensitive episodes we've elected with Sprigger's support to not have advertisements in them just due to the sensitivity of the subject. We didn't want suddenly to be like, we're
talking about heavy shit, and then all of a sudden it's like, do you love sponges? Scrub daddy.
So, yeah. But yeah, so this podcast will now be brought to you by some
God
things.
knows what. Things that we are okay with.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the ads, you can also fast forward. You can do that. It won't hurt my feelings. I won't know. Sorry.
Just kidding.
Okay. Here's the other thing. We've got a couple of people to thank.
We do?
We yes. A few patrons here. First things first. Thanks for the cup of coffee, Raphael O.
Raphael O.
Which is not Raffaello. I kind of want to say Raffaello, but that's not their name.
That's not their name.
Raphael O.
Raphael space O. Raphael O. Just like a lithe katana. You cut through the bullshit. You get right to the point. You are direct. You are honest. And we really appreciate that in a world where people are always trying to put their feelings on hold. You're somebody who's like, I'm going to honor my feelings. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be direct. But you also protect people's feelings. You do your honesty in a way that's still kind and still considerate of other people's feelings, right? We can be honest without being unkind. And that's you, Raphael. You are also super badass. Like, people see you and they go, that's a badass person. I want to get to know them. I want to be their friend. I want to learn what they're all about. And for that, we thank you. And thanks for being part of this community.
Thanks for the pint, Lumen. Ellie, we know Lumen.
We do know Lumen. Hi, Lumen. Just like a luminary.
Hey.
Storm cloud.
Ooh.
I love rain. I do.
It's actually raining right now. We're coming to you on a rare rainy evening here in Southern California.
And as they say in Southern California, we need this.
We do need this. We always need this.
That's what everyone says in Southern California when it's raining. We need this.
Yes.
Just like a luminary storm cloud, you are showering us with your incredible spirit. Your vapor, your essence is that of positivity and a promise of nourishment and enjoyment. And you, just like rain in Los Angeles, we need you, Lumen.
Mm-hmm.
We need this. When I get a hug from Lumen, I'm like, I needed this.
Yes.
And for that, we thank you, and thanks for being a part of this community.
And last but not least, thanks for the pint, Jerica B.
Jerica B, just like a generous map. You guide us. You tell us what we need to hear, where we need to go. But you do so in a way that's gentle. You are instructive without being didactic. You know what I mean? You are a very patient and wise and kind teacher, and I feel like being good at helping people learn things is a really actually difficult skill. But you mastered it, and you are a promise of adventure. And for that, we thank you, and thanks for being a part of this community.
Thanks to all of our new patrons. Thanks to all of our old patrons. The podcast is still free, even with ads. And also, thanks to Sarah on Twitter who tweeted, apparently I listened to a shitload of Wheel Takes pod this year. Also, Allie called me a brooch at one point. Brooch?
Brooch.
Allie called me a brooch at one point, which was weird and kind of nice.
I feel like weird and kind of nice is what people should put on their tombstone.
That's the way to be.
Yeah, that's who I am. That was really one of the most accurate descriptions of myself I've ever heard.
Allie.
Yeah.
You know, I say that like that so that when I'm editing, I know when we're starting a new section because I listen to it quickly.
No,
So when I hear myself go, Allie, then I know that it's
a new section.
something I have to, like, I might have to put a cut in there.
Clever.
Yeah. The tools of the trade.
Tools
Tricks.
of the
Wow.
trade. You are so smart.
Here's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Did you get bingo for a Crown of Swords?
I did not.
No.
I did get a lot of squares.
You got very, very close.
which I felt really good about at the time.
I think you got 16 squares.
You
were
was
upsettingly
so
close. Upsettingly
on
close.
several, like, what are they called? Lines.
Yes,
right?
rows and columns.
Yes, several rows and columns were achingly close.
Even a diagonal, I think.
I think so. So I got bingo in my heart.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Do you have, not notes, we'll get to that later, do you have predictions?
Yes.
Bingo predictions for the
book
Path of Daggers.
Yes, I do.
And can you confirm that you wrote these before we listened to the prologue?
I do confirm that.
Good.
Okay, so problematic gender dynamics will continue to be our free
That's
space.
the free space.
The rules of bingo are, of our bingo, obviously I have to complete a row, column, or diagonal in our big square thing, right? And that means I get bingo. Have we decided that I do get, like, points for getting...
Let's do this.
Sections?
Because we've gone back and forth on what to do with points. I think, going forward, so starting now, for every...
Because I do think that I should get acknowledged for how right I am.
For every 5 squares you tick, you can swap 2 unchecked spaces.
Okay, but can I also just get points for points?
You can also just get points, but I want to make a game out of it.
Okay.
And if you want, you got 16 right last time, right? Mm-hmm. I will let you substitute 3 of these with predictions from A Crown of Swords.
What?
I've made that up on the spot.
Really?
Yes.
This changes everything.
So you go ahead and read what you have now, and then I'll remind everybody what your unfulfilled Crown of Swords predictions were.
I'm not allowed to repeat.
Yes.
I'm not allowed to repeat from book to book, like congruent books. Is that the correct term?
Congruent means equal. Concurrent.
Thank you.
No. Consecutive books.
Consecutive. That's the word.
Concurrent means simultaneous.
God, English. I've been really struggling with, like, fibro brain fog due to some stressful events in my life, which we will talk about later. Yeah, so great. So what I have right now is problematic gender dynamics will always be my free
space. That's the free space,
yeah. Loyal marries Aerith.
Okay.
I feel like that's a good one. Tom and or Joylin get a plot. Massima commits war crimes.
Good. Good enough. Yeah, good.
You approved these already.
I did, yeah.
Elaine succession crisis.
Good.
Elaine and Nynaeve use the bowl.
That seems like a safe bet.
Mm-hmm. Nynaeve gets Lan's warder bond.
Good.
Seems like a safe bet to me.
Yeah.
Logain joins the Black Tower.
Good.
Aes Sedai attack the Black Tower and get bodied.
Good. Can you, I know that bodied is a particularly recent English idiom.
It'd be like if you ran into someone who was standing... It'd be like if I ran into you and totally got, like, knocked on
your ass.
Yeah. Bodied. Cerelia and Cadsuane finally meet.
Good. I like that. I'd like to see that.
That will be really spicy or funny or both. Jacob Carradine finally attacks a Verin boy.
Good.
Now that his family's all dead, he's kind of gotta. I guess he kind of attacked Matt recently, but like through
he said, he's over there.
Tylan dies, hopefully. Tenobia dies, because I really do think
you really think that's gonna happen.
Fucked. And this is the tricky thing, is I had to figure out, like, what I think could happen while it's still the slog. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, well, it can't be too much excitement. Just enough excitement.
You know, here's the thing about the quote-unquote slog. I think a better word for it, a better term for it than the slog would be the pacing.
The pacing.
Because it's not necessarily that nothing happens. It's just that the pacing stops making sense.
Okay.
Because Jordan was selling so many fucking books that he could do whatever he wanted.
That is the Shonda Rhimes rule in that I tell people. I'm like, once you're Shonda Rhimes,
you can do
who's
whatever
a very
you want.
Successful showrunner, you can kind of do whatever you want. They might hand you more of a blank check than they would hand anybody else. I mean, you still have to go through it, but like they're a lot more lenient on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Asmodean revealed to be alive.
Okay.
Egyanan and Baal Domon infiltrate the Shanchan.
Good.
Because I just feel like they have to do something.
That would make sense.
The circus returns.
Oh.
That would be a fun slog plot. Elaine spills another secret.
Safe bet.
Yeah, and I also thought like Elaine and Nynaeve are leaving. I didn't even put anything about the kin in here, but I can't think of where they're going with that.
Sure, yeah.
You know? Elaine tries to make fox head medallions. I feel like after the whole thing with the golem, the need for a fox head medallion could not be more clear.
Sure.
Put them on everybody. Gall and Chiad hook up. Perrin doesn't notice.
Perrin would not notice.
Tuon arrives in Randland.
Okay.
Alana dies.
Oh.
But I'm worried it might be too soon.
Okay.
Gollum attacks Min.
Min?
Yeah, because she's been saying all this stuff about balance and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I feel like that's not good.
Yeah. She is doing the Herod Fell stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like, are they going to try to... And you said recently, but they're always together, but I'm like, she's got to pee at some point. Are they in open door peeing stage of their relationship yet?
She probably is. He's probably not.
This is where we're at. Some people never get there.
Yeah.
I have friends who don't have that kind of open door policy.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
Perrin and Verlaine in another compromising position.
Sounds good.
I feel like that's gonna, like, I'm kind of wondering if, like, part of the reason why Fael gets kidnapped is, like, she sees something.
You're so dead set on that.
She's 100%.
Do you want to bring that one forward?
I do. That's one of the ones I want to bring forward. So,
we'll get to there in a minute.
We'll get to there. But here's my editorializing. I think that Fael sees them in a compromising position. She, like, runs away from them. She's like, oh, adulterers. Runs away, upset, angry.
Does that sound like Fael?
I feel like she'd totally be the type to, like, run away from Perrin and expect him to chase after her. I absolutely think that would be real of her.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I feel like she might.
But she's a fight, not flight person. But, like, I feel like if she's really done with him, I could see her, like, horse riding away, being like, I'm going home.
Sure.
To Dad, who will murder you.
Dad from?
Yeah, Dad from.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she gets kidnapped by Shido. Like, something like that happens.
Okay.
In my mind. And Ogier Steading is attacked.
Okay.
Here's why. They've been closing the way gates.
Oh, and they won't want them to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
because they need to be able to get Trollocs in and out of places.
Okay.
Do you think that could happen?
Yeah.
Semirog revealed to be in the Borderlands.
Okay. That's it?
Uh-huh.
All right. Let me remind you of the unchecked boxes from last time. Tenobia POV. Slayer returns.
I feel like Tenobia POV would be cheating because I already know she has one. Oh, no, she doesn't have one.
You don't know she has one. You've seen her.
I've seen her.
You don't know if she has a POV. That was an Atheniel POV.
Right. And things were happening ominously.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about
The
it.
prologue, aka things are happening ominously. And Allie gets really suspicious of Verin.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Slayer returns.
Slayer returns. I don't think that's happening.
Aram kills an innocent.
You skipped Gallad Crisis of... okay.
I'm going left to
Aram
right.
kills an innocent. I think there are other ones I feel more attached to.
Black Tower Rebellion.
Black Tower Rebellion. Might be too soon.
Okay. But it wasn't too soon in book 7.
Well, now I think I'm kind of getting an idea of what the pacing is like in the sloggier sections. No?
What I will say about 7 through 10/11, you can never really bet on the pacing.
Well, Black Tower Rebellion is certainly a possibility.
Okay. Galad Crisis of Faith.
That's up there.
Adelius and Van Deen create Channeler Army.
Man, I argue that they already have, but
Okay.
excuse me.
Tam shows up.
Possible.
Egyanin and Baeldom. Well, you kind of snuck this in with Egyanin and Baeldom on return. You reworded that enough.
I'm sneaky.
Wonder Girls find and lose bowl. I mean, they already have
They
it.
already have it.
And you already have they use it, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Shiriam confirmed
I want
black.
that one.
You want that one. Matt duels Beslin.
That's a solid maybe.
Rand bonds Alana.
Maybe I do that over Alana dies.
Okay.
Because I think it's too soon for Alana to die. Like, Alana will definitely die. So I don't know. Could Winter's Heart be partially like Rand going through an emo phase because Alana died?
Maybe.
But is it too soon?
Maybe. Fail is kidnapped. You're bringing
I
that
want
forward.
that. I want that.
So Shiriam confirmed Black Adra. Fail is kidnapped. Those are both coming forward. What's your third?
Okay. I think I'm torn between Black Tower Rebellion, Gallad Crisis of Faith, and Rand bonds Alana.
Okay.
What would I want to... Okay. Fail is kidnapped. I think I'm going to put that over Perrin and Berelain in another compromising position.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just trying to see... Okay, what was the other one?
Shiriam Black Adra.
Shiriam revealed to be Black Aja. Let's put that over instead of... Let's do it instead of... This is hard. This is really hard. I want to do it over like one of the more boring ones, I think. Let's do it over Circus Returns.
Okay.
Okay.
And your third?
Let's do Black Tower Rebellion. I feel like I have too many people dying, but maybe not. Let's go with... I think Tenobia, it's too soon for her to die.
Okay.
So let's go with Black Tower Rebellion there.
All right. I'll whip up this card and I will post it on Twitter and Instagram in case Twitter goes away tonight. Which I'm not saying is likely. Did you see that Hive has some serious cybersecurity issues, by the way?
Here's my thing. I am never the person that jumps on any social media early. I always wait for it to like start becoming uncool before
that's smart,
I will jump on. Only because I'm afraid of new things.
Yeah. Well, Hive, well-intentioned though it was, apparently this cybersecurity initiative was like, hey, just so you know, we found a way to view literally everything on your site, including like people's DMs. And Hive was like, cool. And then a week went by and they were like, hey, are you going to do anything about that? And Hive was like, yeah, eventually. And then they were like, hey, we're going to publicly announce this because we think it's really fucked up that you haven't done anything about it yet. And then Hive shut its servers down for a few days to patch that shit. More power to them. It's two people who suddenly have millions of people on their site.
I kind of feel like I empathize with the fact that there are two people who suddenly grew much bigger than they thought they were going to be all of a sudden. Like, I really empathize with that because I feel like as somebody who is operating a thing that is just two people doing their best.
Oh God!
If suddenly we had millions of listeners out of nowhere,
I'd be
like
freaked the fuck
completely
out.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I empathize with that. It is fucked up that they didn't do anything about it. I'm just kind of like,
having just finished a cybersecurity certification, it's not best practices to
it's not best
alert
practices.
people.
I'm going to put this blanket on.
Please do.
I'm chilly. It's not best practices, and it honestly doesn't surprise me because I was just like, somebody said on Twitter, prepare for the fact that like Hive is completely overwhelmed and that like they might have glaring issues with their stuff that they're not aware of because they haven't had this much attention.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I also, there's so many of them right now that are like the wannabe Twitters. And I'm just like, everyone just let me know where we land and I'll go there.
I'll take a breather.
I'm not dying to be on the Elon Musk website. Like, no, but I'm like, I want a place to go where I know my friends are.
Allie.
So when we find it, let me know. Yes. Sorry.
There's a guy making one that's whale themed.
I saw that.
It's called Spoutable.
Yeah. Yes. I'm curious and excited about that.
I bet Hillary, aka Mellow Whale, is very excited.
About Spoutable?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, here's what I want to know. Do you want to hear the dedication?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it to Harriet?
For Harriet.
Oh my
light,
God.
my love, my heart, forever.
I'm a sucker for a guy who loves his wife. I really am. I like not in a like I want that way, just in like it melts my little heart.
Yeah.
No, I mean I do want a guy who adores her, but I don't want that man who has
I understand.
a wife he adores. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We got in a whole discussion about wife guys because of all the try guys shit. If you're not up to date, there was a YouTube channel. One of the guys' whole personality was, I love my wife. Then he publicly cheated on her.
Yes.
So anyway.
Ned from Try Guys.
Now that we've recapped
this podcast is not brought to you by Ned from Try Guys. Which, of course, I haven't watched the Try Guys since their days at BuzzFeed.
When we were in like high school.
And so I was honestly like, is this still around? And then, when I mean that respectfully, but I was surprised that it was still happening. And then I got immediately far too invested in it. And then my entire TikTok feed was Try Guys and the Miami Jewish Boys Choir.
That was a whole thing.
And that was like a very strange and surreal period of my life on TikTok.
But we got into this whole thing because we were like, well, is the wife guy thing is the issue? Because like we will also joke about Perrin being a wife guy, but I don't think Perrin is a wife guy.
Well, here's my thing. I think a wife guy is someone who centers themselves in loving their wife.
Yeah, they make it about themselves.
Because like it's like the John Mulaney thing too, where he like very publicly loved his wife and then cheated on her as well. And like it happens.
Did he cheat on her or did he just leave her? Not just, but you know.
I think he cheated on her, but don't quote me on that. Not sure. But I think the thing is that you just kind of go, did you center yourself in your conversations about how much you love your wife? Like, is it, I love my wife or my wife is so great?
Right.
Like what is do I want to look like a family man or do I genuinely love my wife?
Right.
Because like I love Maya and Hunter on TikTok and I feel like he genuinely does.
Well, it's not about him. That's not the point.
Like, I think it's genuinely about her.
I mean, some of it is, but it's like...
But I think the other thing that he's doing is he's trying to...
This is a young couple on TikTok where, like, the guy's whole thing is like, fuck toxic masculinity. My wife makes more money than me and I clean, and it's great.
Yeah. Which, I mean, house husbands are great.
Yeah.
We love house husbands. Yeah, I think it depends on whether it seems like they're trying to make themselves look good or if they genuinely are just excited to talk about their wives.
I don't know how we got on this, but I'm happy we discussed it.
Yeah. And in that way, I don't think Perrin is a wife guy because I do think he genuinely loves Fail. I think he just he's just not very good at showing it.
Yes. Are you suggesting that almost all the characters in the Wheel of Time need to go to therapy?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah. I think personally, couples counseling is super important, especially when you marry young. and you're still learning who you are.
So here we have the Path of Daggers. How long was A Crown of Swords, roughly?
How long?
Yeah.
800 pages?
About 800. How long is Path of Daggers?
672.
It's the shortest book.
Little shrimpy.
It is a Shramp, and it's got how many?
It's the Samael of
It
the
is
book.
the Samael. It's got 30 chapters. 31 chapters. The last one is only a page long, so...
Wow. Brief.
Yeah. Rip Samael. I'm not over it.
I'm really glad you told me, because I would totally be having theories that he's
I
still
love
alive.
all of your theories, especially when they are rarely wild goose chases. But because Jordan out and out was like, was this not obvious?
Yeah, I think that is fair for you to tell me if he, like, at the time of publication was like, yeah, he's dead. What are you all talking about? I think otherwise it's not fair. I'm not on the same level as the other, people who read for the first time back then.
Yeah. All right.
And I totally would have, because there's no body.
All right. The epigraph. The Path of Daggers. Who would sup with the mighty must climb the Path of Daggers. Anonymous notation found inked in the margin of a manuscript history believed to date to the time of Arthur Hawkwing of the last days of the Tovan conclaves. On the heights, all paths are paved with daggers. Old Shanchan's saying.
Okay.
So there you go.
So it all has to do with the Shanchan. Oh, I kept 2 on comes.
You did.
2. Okay. Ran late. Okay, good. So there seems to be a lot of dagger stuff right now. So I feel like this book might have to do with all of the dagger things. So the Shanchan with their old sayings. Ilion with their dagger crown.
Crown of Swords, yeah.
The Crown of Swords.
Thane, maybe.
Thane. And what's it called? Abudar.
Sure.
They
Yeah,
got
a lot of Abudar in this
dagger
book.
stuff. I feel like that's where we'll be spending
Makes
a lot
sense,
of time.
right? With Path of Daggers, we should. Yeah.
Is there other daggers in this book?
Uh,
Wait, isn't there a dagger on the map?
no? What? A dagger on the
There's
map?
something called, like,
Kinslayer's dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Right over here. It's in Kyrian. North of Kyrian.
Okay.
East of Tarvalin.
And we've been spending time in Kyrian. So that might have something to do with it too.
Let's also zoom out and think about the thematic connotations of the epigraph, because usually an epigraph is meant to convey theme.
Can I see?
Yeah, of course. There you go.
He who would sup with the mighty must climb the path of daggers. So it kind of feels very like, you're going to be tested to achieve, being someone worthy of recognition.
Sure.
Supping with the mighty. Could that be the Heroes of the Horn?
It could be.
Or just victory in general?
I might also posit.
Because, Path of Daggers feels very walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that kind of stuff.
I would also posit Galadriel in Return of the King, and also I think Fellowship. The I don't remember exactly what she says, but it's like the path you walk is as thin as the edge of a knife. Stray but a little, and you will fall. Right? If the paths are paved with daggers, and you fuck up and fall down,
yeah. It's also kind of giving Game of Thrones, which I know this was an inspiration for.
Yes.
So it's kind of giving me also Game of Thrones with the Iron Throne with the swords, that the path might find you wanting and deny you. It's giving also Olympus.
Yeah.
To get to become a god, you have to go through, you have to do heroic feats, right? Wasn't that the whole?
Well, you can't really become a god. The only person who ever ascended that I can think of in mythology is Heracles.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, but he's yes. So yes, but he's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Classic scholar, let me know if I'm forgetting any.
Well, I feel he was also
a demigod.
already half a god.
Yeah.
But, that there was a way to become a god, provided that you did a lot of really heroic feats, big things.
But that's kind of what the story of Achilles is against, right?
that
And in Agamemnon in the Odyssey, when Odysseus is visiting the lands of the dead, and he sees either Achilles or Agamemnon, he's like, "Hey, dude, you fucking lording it up down here?" And he was like, "No, I'm dead. It's all the same."
I find like the underworld to be so depressing sounding.
It's the most, god damn it, is the fucking Greek underworld depressing.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
It's like,
then
hey,
Valhalla.
Valhalla works.
It feels Valhalla to me. Like, to be accepted into this pantheon, of paradise, you have to have done great deeds, died in battle, been proven yourself worthy of paradise.
Greek underworld has striation, though, doesn't it? You've got,
I don't know,
Elysium, Asphodel.
I thought it was just kind of depressing and everyone was just kind of miserable.
No, Asphodel is like you wander around big fields.
Okay.
And then Elysium...
That was for heroes, wasn't it?
Elysium is for heroes. It's been a minute. But I just remember the fields of Asphodel, because when I learned about it when I was 11, it was like, so if you're pretty good, you just get to kind of meander through wheat forever. I mean, I guess you can frolic, yeah.
Doesn't sound that bad.
You ever frolic?
We could frolic through wheat.
It's fun.
I love frogging. But then I think it's more like a Valhalla type thing.
Yeah, okay.
And very Game of Thronesy, and like that you could be found wanting by the throne and it can cut you, right? And be like, you're not worthy. Does that make sense? So it feels like
the path can find you unworthy.
This might be like the feats book, where it's like, you have to accomplish X. You have to accomplish Y.
Sure.
Wait, I'm not done.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
But I was just thinking, like, Sup with the Mighty, like, who are the mighty in this book? So then I thought maybe the Heroes of the Horn.
Yeah.
They haven't shown up in a minute. So maybe the Horn makes a reappearance. We kind of haven't really...
Well, Brigitta's been there.
I guess, but she's only one mighty.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know, but climb the path of daggers. Could also be that there is a literal path of daggers. I don't know, or that there's something having to do with like all these daggers that we see, dagger places.
Let's think of the other titles.
Right.
Eye of the World. Literal?
Yes.
Yes. The Great Hunt.
Literal.
Literal, yeah. The Dragon Reborn.
Literal.
The Shadow Rising.
A little bit more metaphorical.
The Fires of Heaven.
Very metaphorical.
Lord of Chaos.
That was because of a statement.
Yeah.
Let the Lord of Chaos rule.
A Crown of Swords. Surprisingly literal, but also metaphorical.
Surprisingly literal, but also metaphorical.
Right? Winter's Heart has the fucking winter on the cover.
So, it seems like there might be an actual path
There
of
might
daggers.
be. Might not be. But might be.
I think might be.
New Spring is literal,
there's
right?
a lot of like daggery things. Like maybe there's like a path between like Iliad and Abudar or something.
Could be.
Where's Abudar?
Abudar's down here, right in between the two pages.
So maybe like the kind of seafront.
Well, and what
area.
was the whole thing at the end of the last book that we realized what was coming this way from west to east and what was coming this way from east to west?
The Shanchan.
And going east to west?
Rand.
Yeah.
So it could be that, it could be that that there is a literal path of daggers, maybe from like Abudar to Ilion.
I could see it.
Interesting. Or
I like how he literally just named a city Cutter.
could be Abudar,
It's
Ilion
spelled different, but yeah.
to Kyrian, because there's Kinslayer's dagger.
Could be.
Who knows? Could be like a whole suite. Cool. On the heights, all paths are paved with daggers.
What was the epigraph of book 7? Do you remember?
On the heights? All paths are paved with daggers? On the heights? Heights? What does heights mean? Like cliffside?
Well, I will say Shanchan are really obsessed with class, right?
Mm-hmm. Like the High.
Well, High is a different thing. That's the Return, right? It's the Forerunners, the Return.
What are the
high blood? The blood.
Oh,
yeah.
The heights. Okay, so maybe that's to like get to become a high blood. All paths are
Well, you can. We've seen that you can. Have we seen that?
That you can be,
Yeah, you can be raised to the blood. Yeah.
So maybe to be raised to the blood, all paths are paved with daggers, or there is a literal path of daggers.
It's the epigraph to Crown of Swords was, "There can be no health in us, nor any good thing grow, for the land is one with the dragon reborn, and he one with the land. Soul of fire, heart of stone, in pride he conquers, forcing the proud to yield. He calls upon the mountains to kneel, and the seas to give way, and the very skies to bow. Pray that the heart of stone remembers tears, and the soul of fire love."
Now look at that.
Yep.
There can be no health in us, nor any good thing grow, for the land is one with the dragon reborn. So that's just what's happening to the land right now. That it's like this weird global warming time. And he is one with the land. Soul of fire, I don't know. Heart of stone, that's got to be stone of tear, right?
I must be hard. I must be so hard.
Yeah, but also...
I have to be hard.
But also...
I'm hard.
Okay.
But also that, yeah.
Well, because they said about the stone of tear, into the heart he thrusts his sword.
Yeah, well, the heart of the stone is the central...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Soul of fire. Fire. Okay. In pride he conquers, forcing the proud to yield. That's got to be the Aes Sedai. He calls upon the mountains to kneel. That could be the Aes Sedai.
Could be.
Or the Aiel, because they come from over the mountains. Maybe. He called the sea and the seas to give way. That's got to be the sea folk. And the very skies to bow. Maybe that's the Shan-Chan.
Could be. I mean, that's back in book 7. Yeah.
On that. Wait, I didn't finish.
It's book 7. We did this.
I know, but I'm just looking again. Pray that the heart of stone remembers tears and the soul of fire love. Okay. Ready?
All right.
For my notes.
Allie, do you have any?
I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. New character, who dis? Tenobia. She's here. Okay, so she only listens to soldiers for advice. So if she listens to anyone else that we see, that's got to be significant.
Probably, yeah.
That's going to be Semirog.com.
Your Semiradar going off?
Elida miscalculated? What a shock. What a surprise.
By the way,
I can't believe it.
Makes me think of the hubris clock, makes me think of our clock. Thanks to all of you who reached out and said, "I love the clock. It is now proudly hanging in our kitchen."
No, you don't. Stop validating the clock.
My favorite thing was that Todd of Todd Draws on Twitter and Instagram said, "I love it." Thanks, Todd. I don't think you listen to the podcast, but if you do, thanks.
Thank you so much. Verin POV, we are blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so her name's Tirana, but I called her Tyrannosaurus Rex. They made the Aes Sedai dat song. I bet that stung. Verin jerked back into the tent. So I started vigorously jerking the dance move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not the inappropriate pervs.
You said I started vigorously jerking. What do you... Go ahead.
Y'all are perverts. Okay. Katarina escaped. Balls. And it appears to be someone in the camp who did it, who let her go. Because okay, so a bunch of people got poisoned, right?
Yes, the guards, I think.
And the, what's it called? The Geishine who brought them the tea had their throat cut. I don't believe that was Katarina who did that. Someone's covering their tracks. Because, like, if it were Katarina, why would she need to cut the throat of the Geishine? She would have just dipped after the poison was there, right?
Probably, yeah.
So somebody in the camp was like, I gotta cover my tracks because people will immediately turn to the Geishine who they saw bring them the tea and go, what the hell? And the Geishine would be like, I got it from so-and-so, right? So, and I don't think they cut their own throat because that makes no sense. So I'm going with, well, unless she used compulsion, I guess. But then again, why does she need to kill the Geishine? They'll just kill the Geishine for her. So I'm just saying, somebody's covering their tracks, for sure. So there is a dark friend amongst us, right? What do you think?
Makes sense.
Makes sense to me. But you all ducked up, and now you just want to cover that up, ya fucks. Oh, So Verin is like, you need to tell Rand. And they're like, he's got enough to worry about. You better not tell him. And I think that's shady as fuck. So, you know that guy on TikTok who's like suspicious as fuck? He's got the suspicious as fuck song.
Nope.
He's a comedian.
Never seen it.
He'll like do crowd work.
My
and then
TikTok
when they
feed
say
is all
something,
doubloons.
Okay, I'll send him to you because I really love him. And I can't remember his name right now. But whenever somebody says something when he's doing crowd work that's like kind of weird, he'll be like, suspicious as fuck.
That's funny.
So right now, suspicious as fuck. I think because they're like, we want to cover up that we screwed up with having Katerina escape.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like, that's not it, fam. We got to fix this. Okay. Everyone's a villain in this for real. I got really in my feelings while I was listening and got mad at everyone for sucking and only caring about themselves and how they look to other people, which then made me feel a lot of feelings about humanity. I was going through a depressive period for reasons. And so then I got mad at everyone. Verin out here swinging the sumpulsion around. Okay, because she's like, it's not quite compulsion. And I'm like, so sumpulsion.
Sumpulsion.
Yeah, sumpulsion. Wait, maybe this lady's horse is the one Rand gave Min. Okay, this is my headcanon now.
Good, okay.
Oh, other than Min stole Alana's horse, which I still really love as headcanon. So what's her name who came in after Tyrannosaurus Rex? I can't remember her name. Random
Baruna? She's Baruna, right?
Can't tell you. I could not tell you. Baruna, Bahamas, come on, pretty
Beldine.
mama.
Beldine.
No.
It's Vera and Kiruna and Beldine. Oh my god.
Beltime. So whatever her name is, she got all concerned about her horse because like all the Aes Sedai or all the Aiel like destroyed all of her stuff. And she went, my horse. And I swear to God, Gus, for a second, I'm not even like into horses, but I love animals. And I was like, I swear to God, Gus, if they killed that horse, I'm a fucking be done. I can't.
You were quite sad.
I can't. I'm going to be really upset. And then they were like, it probably was given away to some Kyrianan.
So you think that's Min's new horse?
Well, Rand was kind of like, it's some random Aes Sedai's horse. Whatever, you can have it. Wouldn't that be a good, like, full circle moment?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I just thought that's nice for that horse that, like, it's happy. And meanwhile, Min's like, this is one of those women who is into horses. And I'm like, I feel like if I had a horse, I'd be super attached to it, too. Maybe
Probably,
call me a sap, but I don't know. Animals, I get very close with animals. Like, I feel like if I required a horse to ride around all the time, I, too, would get very attached to it.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes her an idiot, but whatever. Did she just give them a big dose of copium? Anyway, she was just like, at one point, she just was like, cope to everyone being upset about their treatment as Datsung.
Yeah.
So.
No notes on the scintillating Moridin section where he plays chess with himself?
Okay. So
I do like it. But
there was not a lot to comment on.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about this chapter. I liked it. I was enraptured. But a lot of it was stuff that was, hard to comment on or come up with any theories about because it was just kind of like, we're doing something ominously. We're being mysterious ominously. Like, there was nothing to kind of theorize about because it was just all kind of like, and now we're doing something.
And we can't let anyone find out.
But it's secret.
Oh, ho, ho, ho,
ho. So, yeah. So no, I did not. And then you looked at me at one point, you were like, do you get the metaphor? And I was like, get it. He's beating me to death with it. What? Yeah.
Well, I said it like this. Do you get the metaphor, Allie?
And I was like, he's beating me with it. Not in a disrespectful way, just like, yeah, I understand.
Because even Moridin is like, this is a metaphor.
Yeah. I think Robert Jordan is like, in case you're sleeping, this is a metaphor. And it's clever.
All right, the prologue, deceptive appearances. There's the logo.
It's a wheel.
It's the wheel. We start out... Etheniel had seen mountains lower than these misnamed Black Hills, great lopsided heaps of half-buried boulders, webbed with steep, twisting passes. A number of those passes would have given a goat pause. You could travel 3 days through drought-withered forests and brown-grassed meadows without seeing a single sign of human habitation, then suddenly find yourself within half a day of 7 or 8 tiny villages, all ignorant of the world. The Black Hills were
Sounds
a rugged
nice.
place for farmers, far away from the trade routes, and harsher now than usual. Who's from the Black Hills? You remember?
Fuck. Give me a hint.
ADHD King.
The Shiva.
The Shiva.
Allegedly.
What's Etheniel up to?
The Shiva is in fact Agenor.
Okay. What's Etheniel up to? This is, by the way, where we are. We're south of Candor.
Wait, what are they up to? Mysterious things.
That's right, Allie. What happens with this
Zenobia?
section?
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Zenobia shows up and they're all in agreement that nobody can find out what they're about to do. They like cut their hands and like slam them together, which I go,
Ew.
Germs. Also,
Bloodborne pathogens.
that's what I mean. I was like, in this period, with all we know about disease, seems like a bad idea.
Who all is there at this clandestine meeting?
Okay, Etheniel, Zenobia,
Yeah.
some randos. A guy.
Bunch of fucking Borderlander royalty, right? You've got Shinarans, you've got Kandori, you've got Saldeans, I think you've got Arafelin, like all of them,
Oh, yeah.
right? The whole fucking crew.
And Zenobia only listens to soldiers, so a bunch of them are like highborn soldier people.
Mm-hmm. And they're somewhere here in the Black Hills going somewhere. What are they going to do?
Something having to do with Rand.
Something. That's right.
Something worth cutting your hand open over.
Now, as this is the prologue for this book, it is reasonable to assume that this would be a plot point in Book 8, right?
Yes.
Do you think we'll be seeing this plot point in Book 8?
One can only hope. Because I feel like, I mean, all I've heard about this couple of books is that you can't really expect anything when it comes to what plot points will and won't be included and wrapped up when. So my thought process is yes, but perhaps no. I'm open to the idea that we never see them again. It's anywhere from yes to we never ever talk about this again.
Do you want me to read any of this out?
Yeah. It's anywhere from yes to Nobia's killed off screen.
Right.
And we never talk about it again.
So they're riding through, and she's having thoughts and talking to Lady Ceralia, not to be confused with Cerilia.
Oh my god.
Her sword bearer's there. His name is Lord Baldir. His name is spelled bald here, because he's bald here. And he says...
Bald where?
Right here. Could be anywhere. They're concerned that maybe they didn't make the right choice about something.
What is the choice?
Something ominous.
Care to share?
He goes, I don't like hiding who I am, Majesty. The world will know us soon enough, and what we've done.
Who I am? Who are you?
She says, and you, Swordbearer, do you have any qualms at this late hour? And he goes,
Swordbearer.
I don't like hiding who I am, Majesty. The world will know us soon enough, and what we've done. Or tried to do.
What did you do?
We'll end dead, or in the histories, or both. So they might as well know what names to write. And
What
they're
did you do?
They haven't done it yet. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
But what is it?
They're gonna do it.
Are they going to try to kill Rand?
They're gonna do something. Ominously.
Are they going to try to kill Rand?
Foreboding.
Why is he hiding who he is? Who is he?
No, he's saying... Because they're riding to this thing in secret. She was like, I'm glad we didn't have to kill anyone, because, you know...
Because our identities are
we got to
secret?
keep this shit secret. God forbid anyone know we're going to do something.
But aren't the Borderlanders like super recognizable just as a people?
Yes, but there's not a lot of people in the Black Hills.
Fair. Can I see the map? What could they be trying to do? Okay, so they're in the Black Hills.
They're somewhere over here. They've all met up here.
Okay, so theoretically they're going to Kyrian or Andor.
Maybe. I mean, truly, they could be going anywhere. This is a good meeting point for all the Borderland nations.
Well, it seems like whatever it is, it has to do with Rand and Davram Bashir, because she's like not happy about how Davram Bashir's been doing.
Tenobia was like, my fucking uncle was supposed to get Mazzy Pizzazzy and kick his ass. And now, instead he's like, hey, you want my breakdancing horseback riders?
Mm-hmm. Really what we got to think is like, what does, if Semirog is with Tenobia, which I think she is.
Yeah.
What does Semirog want her to do?
What do you think?
Well, not kill Rand.
Probably not.
Because the Dark One said no. So, but it all seems like they're going to go kill Rand.
Maybe. I mean, do they say that? What do they say at the end here?
Well, she kind of shits on Davram
They
Bashir.
had to find Rand al'Thor and do what needed to be done.
Well, that sounds like murder.
But does it seem like the Borderlanders want to kill the dragon? Does that make sense?
No. But maybe they're going to ask that they be allowed to kill Mazrim?
Why would they send the regents of every single Borderland nation?
Because they want to kill Mazrim?
Of every single Borderland nation?
Are they going to go swear fealty?
Maybe.
But why was she so
Could be anything. Maybe they're just going to go slap him around. Could be anything.
But why was she so irked at Davram?
Because Davram went to get Taim and then was like, oh, the Dragon Reborn's here. I guess I'll just pledge my army to him. And she was like, it is not your army. It is my army.
That's true. Are they gonna pledge?
Well,
how are they gonna cause issues?
For now, she meets up with Asar of Kandor. No, she's Kandori. Asar and Pytar, not to be confused with Pater, and Manuki. And she goes, I hope you've come this far without detection. And Asar goes, if we've been seen, Nathaniel, we might as well turn back now. And then Shinari shows up, and Agelmar's there. So here's a bunch of people. And Alisoon, not to be confused with Allison.
I don't think Agelmar would kill Rand.
Probably not.
I feel like he liked Rand.
And then they're like, maybe we should turn around. I don't know. I'm really anxious about this thing. And then Tenobia comes, just, turn back. And then a young Tenobia of Saldea galloped into the gathering, drawing her white gelding up so that he reared flamboyantly. Thick lines of pearls marched down the dark gray sleeves of her narrow-skirted riding habit, while red and gold embroidery swirled thickly to emphasize the narrowness of her waist and the roundness of her bosom. Thanks, Robbie. Tall for a woman, she managed to be pretty, if not beautiful, despite a nose that was overbold at best.
Let women have interesting noses.
Large, tilted eyes of a dark, deep blue certainly helped, but so did a confidence in herself so strong that she seemed to glow with it. As expected, the Queen of Saldea was accompanied only by Kalyan Ramsin, one of her numerous uncles, the scarred and grizzled man with the face of an eagle and thick mustaches that curved down around his mouth. Tenobia Kazadi tolerated the council of soldiers, but no one else. I will not turn back, she went on fiercely, whatever the rest of you do. I sent my dear Uncle Davram to bring me the head of the false dragon Mazrim Taim, and now he and Taim both follow this al'Thor, if I can believe half what I hear. I have close to 50,000 men behind me, and whatever you decide, I will not turn back until my uncle and al'Thor learn exactly who rules Saldea.
Okay, see, so they're not necessarily going to, swear fealty. It seems a little combative.
And they're like, damn, Saldeans are weird as fuck. Also, their marriages are bizarre and upsetting. Oh, they don't say that. They just say they're weird. Actually, they kind of do. They kind of do, don't they?
Yeah. Well, Atheniel thinks to herself that Tenobia needs to get married.
Yeah.
That's an instant thing.
But also that her requirements are bizarre and kind of toxic. She's like, he has to yell at her, but only if she wants it, but she won't tell him.
All very bizarre.
But here's the thing. We were begging in book 6 for Robert Jordan to have anybody go, this is weird.
Yes. Finally, we have it.
Do you think this counts?
Yes. Finally.
Yeah,
At
kinda.
last.
Because Atheniel is like, I don't fucking get it, dude.
Yeah. We needed that energy. We've needed that energy from the start. Rather than like Rand going, Perrin has such an easy marriage. Can I...
Yeah, you can put your feet up.
Thank you.
I'm not going to go through all of the specificity of... Because this whole thing just becomes like the women thinking about men for some reason.
Well, isn't that all we think about?
Isn't it just?
Isn't it
And like
just?
Tenobi is trying to set up Atheniel with her uncle, maybe older guy, which is, makes sense for this kind of, they want intermarriages, and they're all thinking about
How old
intermarriages.
is this uncle?
Well, Tenobi is like 25.
Yeah.
Atheniel is probably about 40.
So the uncle's like old.
Uncle's probably like 40.
That's old.
So is Atheniel.
We know Atheniel's trying to set Tenobia up with
Tenobi is
Atheniel.
trying to set Atheniel
with her age
up
appropriate.
with her uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's how it sounded. I thought you said Atheniel is trying to set Tenobia up.
Maybe I said that, but that's not what I meant.
Uncle,
I'm sorry.
And I was like, ew. Not that like, I mean, relationships are relationships. Do what makes you happy. I just think that like maybe it shouldn't be the goal to have that big of an age difference. Like love happens, but we're not like, yeah, that's goals.
So they get nervous because they start talking about Aes Sedai, and like Pytar brought 8 Aes Sedai, and Tenobia goes, and I have 5 more. They found me just before I left Saldea. By chance, I'm sure. They appeared as surprised as I was. Once they learned what I was doing, I still don't know how they did, but they did. Once they learned, I was sure they'd go scurrying to find Mamara. Her brows furrowed in a momentary glare. Elida had miscalculated badly in sending a sister to try bullying Tenobia. Instead,
I could have told her that.
She finished, Elysian and the rest were more intent on secrecy than I. And Atheniel's like, but we have 13 Aes Sedai with us. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's that number that keeps fucking coming up.
13?
Yeah. Remember the whole thing in book 2 where it was like 13 Black Aja channeling through a Myrddraal can turn you evil?
Oh, yeah.
Will we ever see that again?
Maybe. I don't know. It feels like we kind of dropped it. But we
I don't want to play with you anymore.
But I don't feel like these 13 are going to be evil.
The uncle Kalyan is the guy, my uncle Kalyan would be honored if you allowed him to sit beside you tonight, Atheniel. He admires you greatly. And then she's like, this is a setup. And anyway, they're like, hey, let's do the thing that we came here to do.
And what was it?
And they all cut their hands open. Tenobia laughs, and they...
I would not laugh if I were cutting my hand open, but that's fine.
And then they all shake blood oath hands.
Ew.
And Aesar goes, we are one to the death.
I'm not even a germaphobe, but that's like very gross.
Aesar said, and they all spoke with him. We are one to the death.
Blood should stay inside your body.
By blood and soil they were committed. Now they had to find Randall Thor and do what needed to be done.
Which is?
Whatever the price.
Which is?
Then we switch perspective.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Verin.
Should I be trying to figure out what they're up to?
If you want to.
I mean, I haven't the foggiest. Because if... last I heard there were like skirmishes happening in the Borderlands, but now they all seem united.
They were having internal strife.
Yeah.
Which was probably, he is the dragon. He's not the dragon. He is the dragon. He's not the dragon.
And now they're just kind of like,
oh, I guess he is the dragon. Because,
go.
He conquered
I mean, I guess they're swearing...
a third of the continent.
I guess they're swearing fealty?
Maybe?
I guess. Maybe.
Once she was sure that Tyrannosaurus Rex could sit up on the cushion unaided, Verin rose and left the slumped white sister sipping water. Trying to sip, anyway. Tyranna's teeth chattered on the silver cup, which was no surprise. What just happened?
She got Simpelled.
Probably just got simpelled.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just talk about this now. You this whole thing gave you some feelings.
Okay. Verin has been sketching me out for a while now. And I'm starting to worry that all of my ADHD representation is actually just evil, in which case Robert Jordan is canceled for hating the neurodivergent. But she's starting to skeeve me out a little bit because she was like weirdly chill about Alana bonding Rand, which I gave her a pass on because it's like, what is she going to do about it? It's already been happened.
She
it's already
yelled
happened.
at her pretty hard.
Did she?
She said, anyway, now that that's done, what the fuck were you thinking?
Okay. Well, she seemed to have a lot more outrage about like blowing up near the White Cloaks than she did about Rand being bonded to me. But she's been like, there were other things that she was doing that weirded me out. And I can't remember what they were, but she's been weirding me out lately. She's been like notably absent from a lot of like Min's like, trust me, these Aes Sedai are with you stuff.
Sure.
I mean, I guess we haven't seen Min around her, so like, I don't know, but Min's kind of a cheat code a little bit. I would literally like have her look at every single person that was around me if I were Rand.
It'd help, yeah.
Just to kind of get like a read. Why hasn't he done that? That's dumb. Am I wrong?
Well, he does have her around him all the time.
Yeah, but he should like just bring every single person that is anywhere remotely near him and be like,
she doesn't always know. Sometimes it's just like, there's some shit.
Yeah, but she always gets readings about Aes Sedai.
Doesn't always know what they mean.
I still would be like, hey, could you just give me your first impression? First impression. What do you think about this one? What do you think about that one?
She got a very strong reading on David Hanlon, right?
Who is David Hanlon?
Creepy McStabby cactus man in the fucking camp.
That's what I'm saying. I think we should just line everybody up and go, Min has to look at you. Just get a vibe check. And it's okay if like she doesn't know. But it'd be nice to just give vibe check everybody. You know?
Yeah.
So, plus don't more things tend to pop up around Verin people? Like, don't you see more usually? Didn't she say that?
Verin themselves, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. I think it'd be helpful. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, she's been stressing me out because she's up to weird stuff. And I'm not sure if it's in a like Leandrid way where she's obviously being coded as evil and I'm just like, it can't be that simple. Or if it's more complicated than that, like Elida, where like she seems like she's up to no good, and she is, but like she's not evil. She just sucks as a person. This I feel like might be like a secret third option where it's like she's doing bad for good.
Verin?
Maybe.
Okay.
But also she could be bad. She could be just straight up a bad bee.
Well, that's doing bad for good is what you have Shiriam doing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that would be a repeat beat.
Would be kind of a repeat beat. And I feel like there's got to be ones, we've got to have some surprises in terms of Dark Friends. You know, like so far, you kind of have been seeing them from a mile off. Yeah. Or maybe Angchar was a bit more of a surprise for some who weren't paying attention. But he was weirding me out before the end. Yeah. You know, he was being a weirdo. I feel like we've got to have some surprises in here. Verin would be a big surprise.
Would be. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Shiriam would also be a big surprise.
They would both be pretty surprised. They've both been around since the beginning. Well, Verin didn't show up till book 2.
People we should trust.
No, they both didn't show up till book 2. Yeah, no, yeah.
But yeah, they're some of the first Aes Sedai we met. They're very memorable. We care a lot about them. They seem like people we should theoretically trust versus like the very obvious, like we don't trust Liandrin. I just feel like compelling people is... Like, she seems very okay with the fact that, like, what she's compelling them to do might get them killed. She's kind of like, well,
I mean,
that happens.
But, like...
Like, there's no, like, unfortunately. But it's like, meh.
Moiraine straight up said, I will kill all of you young people if I think you're turning evil.
Well, that's one thing. That's like, if you're turning evil, I'll kill you. Didn't seem excited about it. Just was like, yeah. But this is like people who have not done anything
These are the Aes Sedai who tried to box Rand.
I guess it's just.
I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just trying to provide.
I feel like you're trying to fight me. No, I'm just kidding.
You know.
I just there's something bugging me about her, and I don't know what it is. Like something's off.
Sure. I mean, it is weird.
I've said from the beginning she's a lot smarter than she lets on, which is true.
This certainly seems to, right? She says, like, I have doddering down to a science.
But here's the thing. I feel like it's potentially a repeat beat to have two, like, with it older women with the Aes Sedai who we're supposed to trust. Cadsuane and Verin.
Okay. They're different, though.
They are different.
Because Verin is not openly with it.
I guess I'm trying to figure out where they're going with Verin.
Sure.
Where is Robert Jordan going with her? Because she seems important. She's been important from the beginning. Like, she's got more attention than pretty much any other Aes Sedai, other than, like, Moraine and Swan and Lyanna.
Yeah. I'd say more than Lyanna.
So I'm like, so why? What's important about her? Because she's got to be important. So is she evil? Or is she going to do something super, super important and we don't know what yet? Because she's got, like, all these secret files.
Oh, yeah. She says
she's got ciphers.
Many books that are all coded.
And she's like, I will decode them at some point or like leave a code behind so that people can understand the research and work I've been doing. But what is it? What is she up to?
What do you think?
Is she evil? I'm not ready to say she's evil yet, but she is worrying me.
I would say we're pondering whether she might be Black Aja.
Yeah.
Yes? Compared to every other Black Aja POV we've had.
Well, there's no, like, Great Lord.
No Great Lord. No open considering of, I'm in the Black Aja.
It was also interesting that she gave Egwene the Dream Ring.
She did.
That's something that she did.
Didn't have to, and burned the notes about it. Because the only other POVs we've had...
Which is a little concerning.
Yeah.
Why did she burn the notes about it? Especially when she has a cipher. I don't know.
I don't think they were her notes.
Could be.
I think she may have been purging record of the Terangrial.
I just don't know. Why does she feel like she needs to be able to compel people?
What's she compelling them to do?
I don't know. She didn't say.
What does she imply at the very end of her POV? The entire thing is focused
that Rand
around?
Has to die at the right time, which would imply that she's following what the prophecies are to win on the good side. Because, like, Rand has to die eventually.
Right. So but at the same time, it could also be in a, Forsaken-y vibe of, no, let's keep him alive for now. Right? Which is where the question comes in, which is where the trouble starts. Is she keeping him alive for good, or is she keeping him alive for bad?
I don't know, but I'm bugged. She's a question mark for me right now. And has been for a minute.
Anyway, she comes out of the tent. She's looking around, talking to people, thinking about people, looking at stuff, looking at Guy Shine. There's a bunch of them. They've made the tower Aes Sedai Datsang.
Yeah, which makes sense.
She can't figure out the Wise One's power structure.
I think it's not by power, it's by age.
Yeah, maybe, but sometimes it seems like it goes both ways. Like sometimes she will see one person A command person B, and then later person B commands person A. I think it might be Giotto is a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, it could also be lateral leadership, which is a phrase I learned recently.
I like it.
Where everyone's in charge of different things.
Cool.
Like there's no like reporting to one person. Each person has like their role that they oversee. And then everything's kind of by committee.
No one ever ordered Cerelia, though, and in that might lie safety, of a sort. And I like also that Cerelia busted into the Sun Palace and demanded to know what shamed wetlanders most, and everyone else is like, I don't fucking understand. What are we talking? What? Karuna and the others did not understand. They made no real efforts to see what was happening out here. Perhaps fearing what they might learn, fearing the strange knowledge might put on their oaths. They still struggled to justify taking the path fate had pushed them down, but Verin already had reasons for the path she followed, and purpose.
Of daggers?
She also had a list in her pouch, ready to hand to Cerelia when they were alone. No need to let the others know.
A list of, like, things that embarrass wetlanders?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's her end game here? She's really trying to break them down.
Is she? Maybe?
Or is she trying to get them to like her?
That list summed up the weaknesses Cerelia was seeking. Life was going to grow much more difficult for the women in black, and her own efforts would be aided no end with luck. So there's some Aielmen, and...
So she wants them broken down. That's...
Yeah.
Maybe to make them more pliant.
Because how does the Sumpulsion work?
They have to trust her.
And
be able to justify it in their minds.
Right.
Which makes me feel like she's trying to get them to, like, attack them?
Maybe.
Attack the Aiel? Can they do that? With the oath they swore Rand?
They swore fealty, right?
Yeah. But he didn't really outline the specifics of what that would mean,
And
right?
they also get into the weeds of whether or not oaths given under duress really count, which is a good question.
That is a good question. Does it count with the oath rod?
She goes up to these Aiel and goes, "Please tell Kalinda that I'm done with Tirana Neril, and ask her to send Katerina Elrudden to me." She wanted to deal first with the sisters who had no warders. He nodded once before trotting off without speaking. These Aielmen were not much for civility.
Why does she want to deal with the ones with no warders first?
Probably they won't notice anything about what she's doing.
That makes sense.
So she looks at one of the women that ran stilled and gets nauseated. Comes back into the tent. Tirana's having a bad time. She goes, "There's no hope, is there?" She wept silently. "No hope." And Verin goes, "There's always a way if you only look for it. You must always look." Her thoughts raced.
Look at the thing that I told you to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, so she keeps crying. She's having a bad time. The Aiel come in and lead Tirana out. They're doing shielding and stuff.
So
they
why
can
would
link
it
now.
help her to have them like really breaking down these women? Would it help them turn on them and like try to attack? Would it help them try to run away? Would it help them? What would it help them to do? Why would it convince? What would them? What would it?
Well, let's
what would
consider
it convince them of?
if we're assuming that her end goal is protect Rand al'Thor at all costs. Mm-hmm. What might making these Aes Sedai miserable being in the camp do?
Turn them against Elida?
Maybe.
Turn them against, but it could turn them against Rand.
It could, but Rand essentially said, "I'm not going to deal with you. They're going to deal with you. You fucked up."
Oh, it could make them swear fealty to Rand.
Could, right? Could make them be like, "Hey, we will do literally anything to get out of there."
So is everyone just trying to get everyone to swear fealty to Rand?
Maybe.
Is that what Tenobi is on her way to do?
Maybe.
Just be like, "This is my army, but I'm going to give them to you."
So Verin's exhausted. The cup went back onto the tray, and she pulled the small, leather-bound notebook from behind her belt. It always took a little time for them to fetch those she asked for. A few moments to peruse her notes, and make some, would not be amiss. There was no need for notes about the captives, but the sudden appearance of Cadsuane Melydrin 3 days ago now gave cause for concern. What was Cadsuane after? The
What are
woman's
you
companions
after?
could be dismissed, but Cadsuane herself was a legend. And even the believable parts of the legend made her very dangerous indeed. Dangerous and unpredictable. And then a wise one comes in, and it goes up to Verin's book and picks it up and flips through it. And Verin's like, "I'm just going to pretend that this isn't a problem."
Yeah.
And she looks at it and goes, "Some pretty drawings and a great deal about plants and flowers. I see nothing concerning the questions you are sent to ask."
Yeah, because I said this when we were listening. I was like,
You
that's
did.
a cipher for sure.
"Thank you, wise one," Verin said meekly. "I have the habit of noting down what I see." One day, she'd have to write out the cipher she used in her notebooks. A lifetime's worth of them filled cupboards and chests in her rooms above the White Tower Library. One day. But she hoped not soon. "As for the prisoners, so far they all say variations of the same thing. The Karakan was to be housed in the tower until the last battle. His
Mistreatment began because of an escape attempt, but you know that already. Of course, never fear, though. I'm sure I will learn more.
Why would swearing field teacher Rand cause them to potentially lose their lives?
All true, if not all of it, the truth.
Because then would they want them to go back to Elida?
Where is it more dangerous to be? Carrying rocks back and forth forever, or with the Dragon Reborn?
With the Dragon Reborn.
Interestingly, Verin notes that when she told the Aiel about Rand being beaten regularly, they were like, yeah, well, yeah, you know. And
well,
then she's
like,
like,
they beat people all the time.
And she said, yeah, apparently they pretended to be servants and then shielded him and threw him in a box. And they were like, oh, fuck that. We'll beat the fuck out of him for that specifically. Not for beating him.
For lying about it.
Yeah, for spying, essentially. All right, anyway, we get some more about the dynamic between the Aiel and the Wise Ones. What is the current dynamic between the Aiel and the Wise Ones?
It's fraught.
It's bad. They're like, oh, we thought that we would fail you, but you failed us, and fuck all of you. And Aes Sedai, you put one toe wrong, bang zoom, is essentially where like, cause, you know, yeah. All right. So, couple Wise Ones come in, shielding Beldine. She's very fresh, new Aes Sedai.
Aw.
Raised 3 years ago. And Verin goes,
If I may ask, why was she brought? I asked for another.
and Tialin goes,
Katarina Elvrodin escaped last night. And Verin goes, You let her escape? How could you be so foolish? She's red, and neither a coward nor weak in the power. The Karakarn could be in danger. Why were we not told of this when it happened?
It happened last night.
yeah.
It was not discovered until this morning, one of the maidens growled. A Wise One and 2 Corderai were poisoned, and the Geishine who brought them drink was found with his throat cut.
So someone in their camp is a dark friend. We must root them out. And that's bad. It's also bad that Katarina escaped. But then they go on to try and cover it up, basically, which made me very mad.
They do?
Yeah, they're like, you better not tell him. Pretty sure.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do say that.
Which I thought was really kind of shitty.
It's a little shitty.
That's lying by omission. He deserves to know this information. That they screwed up. Am I wrong?
No.
They totally screwed up. I mean, it's not their fault, but they need to own this.
They go out. Verin offers Beldine,
There's enough water to wash your face and hands, at least. And if you wish, I will heal you.
and Beldine goes, I would rather bleed to death than be healed by you. Maybe I should have expected to see you groveling to these wilders, these savages, but I never thought you would stoop to revealing tower secrets. That ranks with treason, Verin. With rebellion. I suppose if you didn't shy at that, you'll stop at nothing. What else have you and the others taught them besides linking? And Verin's like, 1, I didn't do that. 2, I don't give a fuck. By the way, I forgot to read something.
Well, isn't it possible that they saw Aes Sedai doing it at Demise Wells?
Probably, yes.
Because can't you copy what you see?
Usually, yeah.
There we go. That's how they learned.
I forgot to read this from earlier. When we listened to this, you flagged it as something that stood out to you, and I should mention it. Mendan settled into a crouch, watching her with startlingly blue eyes. One of them stayed with her no matter what she said. A strip of red cloth was tied around Mendan's temples and marked with the ancient symbol of Aes Sedai. Like the other men who wore that, like the maidens, he seemed to be waiting for her to make a mistake. Well, they were not the first, and a great way from the most dangerous. 71 years had passed since she last made a serious mistake.
What happened 71 years ago?
Who can say?
Trying to think timeline-wise.
Has she ever talked or thought about that period of her life?
Not to my knowledge. But also, could it have something to do with settling on?
Maybe. Yeah, it could.
Because her identity's still weird.
She goes, sit down before you fall down. Let me... And so, they talk about the tongue stuff, and Karuna's like, I won't let them break me. What are they trying to do to me? They're trying to break me. What are they trying to do? And
Beldine goes, they're trying to break us, and you know it. Make us swear oaths to Althor the way you did. Oh, Verin, how could you? Swearing fealty, and worse, to a man, to him? Even if you could bring yourself to rebel against the Amerlin seed, against the White Tower, how could you do that? And Verin thinks about, how valid the oath is when a Ta'veren makes you swear an oath, because that's kind of what happened. And she pokes at this brooch in her pocket. What's the brooch?
It's a Angreal.
It's an Angreal. And then we talk about how Datsang works for a while. And Verin is like, they're not trying to get you to do anything. They would not let you do anything. This is not what's happening. There's no end goal here. You are despised.
Yeah. Are you Datsang for life?
I'm not sure. I don't know whether they would let you swear to Master Althor if you begged. It would take something incredible on your part, I think. And Beldine goes, I won't. Never.
The words rang hollow, though. She was shaken, but not sufficiently. Verin put on a warm smile. A fellow had once told her that smile made him think of his dear mother. She hoped he'd not been lying about that, at least. He had tried to slide a dagger between her ribs a little later, and her smile had been the last thing he ever saw.
Okay, I thought you weren't allowed to kill...
With the power.
With the power.
Can't use the power as a weapon, can't make a weapon with the power, and
maybe
you can't
but she's
lie.
A warder, right?
Tomas, yes.
So maybe Tomas killed him.
I can't think of the reason.
Wait, here you go. She goes, I won't swear fealty to Beldine, and Verin goes,
I can't think of a reason you would. No.
But...
Maybe you could?
Maybe you could. Right.
I fear what you have to look forward to is useless labor. That's shaming to them. Bone shaming. Of course, if they realize you don't see it that way.
And then we get into the whole thing, she's like, if you let on that you don't find that shameful, they might just make you stand naked in a room. Because you would hate that.
Yeah.
Like, you just stand there, don't get me wrong. This isn't a crown of swords. Verin prattled on. She had developed prattling to something of a talent.
They'd only make you stand there,
See,
of course.
There's little things that she's saying that are very, like, who are you?
In any case, that's what you have to look forward to. And I know you'll resist as long as you can, though I'm not sure what there is to resist. They won't try to get information out of you or anything that people usually do with prisoners, but they won't let you go. Not ever until they're sure the shame is so deep in you there's nothing else left. Not if it takes the rest of your life.
And she's like, fuck that shit, we're gonna get rescued, right? Totally. Elida definitely cares at all.
And Verin goes, or you'll escape. Really now, you have as much chance of that as you do of rescue. You're surrounded by an army of Aiel, and apparently Althor can call up a few hundred of those Ashaman whenever he wants to hunt you down. No, I fear you must make your own way, somehow. Deal with things as they are. You're quite alone in this. I know they don't let you speak to the others. Quite alone. There's no need to make it worse than it must be. Let me heal you.
And Beldine kind of nods, and Verin thinks to herself she's almost as ready as she could be. And then she heals her, and she does the gaspy thing, and she goes, now she was as ready as she could be. In the moments of confusion that gripped anyone after being healed, while Beldine still blinked and tried to come back to herself, Verin opened herself further, opened herself through the carved flower Angreal in her pouch. Not a very powerful Angreal, but enough. And she needed every bit of the extra power it gave her for this. The flows she began weaving bore no resemblance to healing. Spirit predominated by far, but there was wind and water, fire and earth, the last of some difficulty for her, and even the skeins of spirit had to be divided again and again, placed with an intricacy to boggle a weaver of fine carpets. Even if a wise one poked her head into the tent with the smallest of luck, she would not possess the rare talent needed to realize what Verin was doing. There would still be difficulties. Perhaps painful difficulties one way and another, but she could live with anything short of true discovery. And Beldine goes, What are you, what's happening?
She's saying so many shady things.
Nothing that will harm you. Verin told her reassuringly. The woman might die inside of the year or in 10 as a result of this, but the weave itself would not harm her. I promise you this is safe enough to use on an infant. Of course, that depended on what you did with it. So she's like, this is going to take me a fucking while to get all this shit going, so I'm going to ask you some questions.
Mm-hmm.
And what does she ask her about?
Rand?
Yeah, she says, hey, are there actually secret supporters of Rand in the White Tower?
Why do you want to know?
That's a good question.
I'm so back and forth with her. I don't know what to make of her. I'm starting to get worried. And she goes, absolutely not. And Verin goes, you sure about that?
Beldine also thinks about how it was probably kind of fucked up to beat Rand that much.
Mm-hmm.
So good on you for clocking that. I had a whole conversation with my boss the other day. Apparently clock as a verb for register, he's never heard that before.
Really?
Because I wrote an email, it was a firm-wide email that included the phrase, if you clocked this, and I sent it to him for review, and he said, what the fuck does that mean? I said, clocked it,
I clocked it.
I clocked that as having happened. I registered that as having happened. He said, I have never in my life have I heard that before. And I said, seriously? He said, yeah.
We use it all the time.
Said, am I old? And I was like, my parents use that. They're older than you.
Much older.
I don't know.
They're not much older, but
no, they are.
Older.
They're at least 25 years older than my boss.
I just didn't want to be like, they're much older.
It was like, have y'all listening? If I say, oh, I clocked that, do you understand what I mean? Or do you think I mean I punched that?
And I'm the only opinion that matters.
That's
no,
true.
Just kidding.
So Verin thinks about what she's doing and how it's she's kind of reconstructed something that is like compulsion, which is forbidden. But then again, so's balefire. And Moiraine was like, hey, this is balefire.
I don't know why I trust Moiraine so much more than I trust Verin. It's because I am a self-hating neurodivergent.
So they're talking about Rand, and Beldine goes, he must be kept safe.
Well, that's fair.
The world must be safe from him.
And Verin is like, it's funny that some of y'all are saying the world has to be kept safe from him, but some of you are saying he also has to be kept safe. So that's good to know.
Good if what Verin wants is for Rand to be kept safe.
To Verin's eyes, the weave she had made resembled nothing so much as a haphazard tangle of faintly glowing transparent threads, all bundled around Beldine's head, with 4 threads of spirit trailing out of the mess. 2 of those, opposite one another, she pulled, and the tangle collapsed slightly, falling inward into something on the edge of order. Beldine's eyes shot open wide, staring into the far distance. In a firm, low voice, Verin gave her instructions. More like suggestions, though she phrased them as commands. Beldine would have to find reasons within herself to obey. If she did not, then all this had been so much wasted effort. Verin pulled the other 2 threads of spirit, and the tangle collapsed further. This time, though, it fell into what seemed perfect order, a pattern more precise, more complicated than the most intricate lace, and complete, tied off by the same action that began its shrinking. This time it continued to fall inward on itself, inward around Beldine's head. Those faintly glowing threads sank into her, vanished. Her eyes rolled back in her head, and she began to thrash, limbs quivering. Verin held her as gently as she could, but Beldine's head still whipped from side to side, and her bare heels drummed on the carpets. Soon, only the most careful delving would tell that anything had been done. And not even that would identify the weave. Verin had tested that carefully, and if she did say so herself, none surpassed her at delving. Of course, the thing was not truly compulsion as the text described it. The weaving went with painful slowness, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, as you said earlier, they have to trust you, and they have to be able to justify it to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because how did she reconstruct this?
From girls who would basically compel their parents to do things for them and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that exception. Because the girls were using it on people who already trusted them.
Yeah. So it would be like a nudge.
Rather than a full grab you, force you to do something you'd never do otherwise.
Yeah. And then she's like, and also, I can make it so you don't remember it happened, which is really helpful. And then Beldine is like, oh, did I pass out? Damn, it's hot. What happened? And Verin goes,
Oh, the heat is very bad. I've felt lightheaded myself once or twice today.
from weariness, not heat.
Yeah, because of the amount of times that she's done this.
So I think while we are examining is Verin bad, has she lied here?
No.
Has she lied ever?
Not that I know of. I don't know. I need more evidence.
So they get the Aiel to come in. Verin is like, oh, here you go. You can take her. She knocked over the water. They're like, yeah, they're going to kick the shit out of her for that one.
Yeah.
That'll be helpful.
I think she's trying to get them to swear fealty to Rand.
The sun still had a long way to fall to the horizon, but the ache in her back told her it was time to stop for the day. She could still do one more sister, but if she did, by morning she would feel it in every muscle.
Mood.
Her eyes fell on Irgain, now with the women carrying baskets to the handmills. How would her life have gone if she had not been so curious, Verin wondered. For one thing, she would have married Edwin and remained in Farmadding instead of going to the White Tower. She'd be long dead for another, and the children she'd never had, and her grandchildren too.
But we love a woman with career goals.
With a sigh, she turned back to Coram.
When Mendan returns, would you go tell Kalinda that I would like to see Irgain Fatimed?
Okay, so she's going to do one again?
The pain in her muscles tomorrow would be a small penance for Beldine's suffering over that spilled water, but that was not why she did it. Or even her curiosity, really. She still had a task. Somehow, she had to keep young Rand alive until it was time for him to die.
Very Dumbledore of you. Hashtag Trans Lives Matter. Fuck J.K. Rowling.
We switched to Moridin. How's he?
Playing chess.
Yeah, he's playing chess. He's hanging out. He called himself Moridin, and surely no one had ever had more right to name himself Death.
So he did name himself.
And then every
so
now
he's
and again,
kind of a dick.
he just, brushes the Corsouvras, because he's an asshole.
Being like, hello, my pretties, I'm still here.
So, here's this fucking game. 33 red pieces and 33 green arrayed across a playing surface of 13 squares by 13.
Fancy
A
chess.
recreation of the early stages of a famous game. The most important piece, the Fisher, black and white like the playing surface, still waited in its starting place on the central square. A complex game, Shara, ancient long before the War of Power. Shara, Cheran, and Nori, the game now called simply Stones, each had adherents who claimed it encompassed all the subtleties of life, but Moridin had always favored Shara. Only 9 people living even remembered the game. He had been a master of it, much more complex than Cheran or Nori. The first object was capture of the Fisher, only then did the game truly begin. Alright, so run me through, what is the metaphor?
It's Rand.
It's Rand.
They're all fighting over Rand.
Yeah.
Rand is the Fisher King because he's been stabbed in the side.
What's the Fisher King?
It's a biblical...
I think it's Arthurian.
Oh, Arthurian, where he's gotten stabbed in the side, just like Rand.
Man tasked with guarding and keeping the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail, we know what that is. In many versions, he's wounded or maimed in some way, usually because he's been pierced by a spear.
In the most
Sometimes it's his dick.
Ow. That's no fun.
Yeah. The Fisher King, being so wounded, cannot lead his men into battle. All he's able to do is fish in a small boat on the river near his castle, hence his name. His land is often described as a barren wasteland in which nothing will grow. The impotence he's suffering as a result of his groin wound is also echoed by the infertility of the land.
Apparently he's not super
The
impotent.
land is one with the dragon, right?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
but apparently he's not super impotent in this.
Probably not.
Well,
Anyway,
he's been screwing men on the reg.
Yeah, probably. So, anyway, run me through the metaphor again. It's capture the Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Basically.
capture the Rand, and if your opponent has Rand, it's like, get Rand back. And sometimes...
Capture the Flagon.
Sometimes the game, you fucking start slugging it out. Mm-hmm. And that sucks. And it's usually a war of attrition. But, if no one can get the totally not Rand...
There are other ways to win.
Beat him up. Beat everybody up. And then he like almost crushes his Fisher figure. Then he's like, no, I only have one of these.
And I'm not Perrin, just crushing stuff.
Saw fly across his eyes. And then he does actually shatter his goblet. And almost crushes the Corsouvra because he's not in a good mental state.
I wonder what would happen if he did that.
They would fucking die.
Well, don't do that.
Yeah. He's like, maybe this is Rand. Maybe this figure... Because he's also blindfolded, by the way.
Who is?
The Fisher.
Uh-huh.
It's blindfolded holding a side wound.
We've seen like a prediction... Rand blindfolded in some kind of like prediction or some kind of... Yeah, blindfolded in beggar's clothes, I think.
Was he blindfolded?
I think so.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I know there was a very early draft, this he abandoned, where like Rand had his eyes put out in book 2 or something, Buy More Gaze, and then he had to like get him back, but he never did that.
Get his eyes back?
Magic. He obviously didn't follow through with that.
No, but there was definitely at one point somebody being like, you in beggar's clothes with a blindfold on.
Okay. Might have been, yeah.
Pretty sure.
I trust you. So he just kind of like laughs and thinks about how there's no need for destruction yet. And he cut his hand real bad. On the board, the Fisher stood waiting, but in the greater game, Al Thor moved already to his wishes.
See, it is a metaphor.
And soon now... It was very hard to lose a game when you played both sides of the board.
Oh.
Moridin laughed so hard that tears rolled down his face, but he was not aware of them.
Okay, so he's playing both sides.
He and Rand are in a very similar mental state with the fucking laughing.
Yeah. Feels like he's got people on both sides. I mean, I guess that makes sense. He's got Maggedian and he's got someone else. We're not sure who. He saved Rand's life. He's probably kind of overseeing a lot of everything, playing both sides, kind of seeing where he lands.
Seems like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's the end of the prologue.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We just wanted to say, for those of you who sort of got to know our snuffly snory dog Schooner, our pod dog, we just wanted to share that we're dedicating this episode to him. Unfortunately, Schooner passed away 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he passed away quite unexpectedly the day after we recorded the Crown of Swords finale. If he touched your life in any way, if he made you laugh, or if you enjoyed hearing his little snuffles, the Rescue Foundation, the shelter from which we got him, is currently doing a match, right? A pledge match?
Yeah, a matching grant for donations.
So if you're in a position to give back, we're gonna link that in the description. He was a great dog, and we adored him, and we miss him.
And we'd love
terribly.
to give more dogs and families a chance at a happy ending. So,
yeah.
If you have the means, we thank you. The organization is Hit Living Foundation. We will have
all that's
links in the bio
down there.
And we wanted to thank everyone who has already donated in Schooner's memory and who has reached out to us and sent us such lovely feelings about our loss. And if you ever find yourself in the position to rescue a
furry
older
friend, yeah.
A furry friend, we highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And we dedicate this episode to his memory.
Yeah.
Thank you all.